What is going on, guys? This is Hold the Door DFS at Fantasy Sports Insight. We have another Thursday night football matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. Super excited to do another breakdown. This will be another 3-2-1. Okay, three of my favorite cash plays, two of my favorite values, and my biggest fade of the slate. So let's get right into it. If you are not a subscriber to our channels, hit that button down below. And then also give this video a thumbs up. It greatly helps us get our content out to more people, and also gives us, the ability to continue to put out free content. If you have not checked out any of the Masters content, go ahead and do that. It can be used for any day, showdowns, etc. So this slate: Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts. The Titans are at home. They are a 1-point favorite. So we're basically looking at a pick 'em. The over-under is 48.5. So it should be a really close game, which is nice because then, in my mind, you're just picking what you think is going to be your best point per dollar players, not figuring in as much game script, at least for me from a cash perspective. I do like that. So let's get into the builds. Um, Off the top, just some notes here. There's like not enough injuries, so like everybody's healthy, so it just reduces a lot of the value. The only injury reports here we have is Mo Alley Cox, who was a full participant in practice yesterday. So again, likely in, if him or Burton were out, that would, bump one of them, but both of them are in. Jack Doyle is still out. Humphreys is out. Paris Campbell out. Nothing else that's really relevant. So compared to our last slate where we were getting a lot of value, also some uncertainty, but here we don't have as much of that. But I think this slate is still top heavy enough that it's definitely not that difficult to build for cash. So the first thing we're going to talk about is I'm going to talk on the Indianapolis side because the Titans defense has been awful. They've given up 27 points or more in the last 5 of 7 games. So that just for me in a vacuum puts Rivers far ahead of Tannehill. I know Tannehill has, I think the ability probably to, run for a touchdown, but he is going to be going up against a phenomenal pass defense. I think that is like allowed the second least touchdowns through the air in the league. So you're getting Rivers for $1,400 less. I clearly like Rivers over Tannehill. Now I can say, not saying in cash you can't play both of them because that is certainly viable. But on the Indianapolis side, Rivers is going to be one of my locks for sure in this slate. Going down, the rest of Indianapolis gets really dicey, and that's what's hard to wrap your mind around. That Rivers has a great matchup. Tennessee's defense is awful, but who is he going to be passing to? Who's going to get the rushing touchdowns? So let's try to sort that out. Jonathan Taylor is going to be your next most expensive Indianapolis running back or Indianapolis player in general. Now, if we just kind of look at his game logs here, you're going to notice last game he did have a rushing touchdown, but he actually fumbled the ball that was recovered and returned for a touchdown for Baltimore, and only carried the ball one more time after that, and I think had one target. So obviously before that, things have been really consistent for him. Even against Detroit, he still had the 11, he had 12, 11 carries. He caught a few balls to the air. So I think like we know talent wise and upside definitely goes to Taylor, but I don't know this slate you feel confident enough in the running back by committee with Taylor, Hines, and Wilkins to pay 8,800 for him in cash. That's where my issue is with him. Moving down, we have Pascal at 6,400. I guess he's been a kind of a safe cash play, but now the price is a little bit more, 6,400. He hasn't gone over 60 yards all season, so the upside just isn't there. And now with T.Y. Hilton back, I don't think it takes away a ton from Pascal because he kind of runs out of the slot. Hilton won't, but I don't know. He's a fine cash play at 6,400, but I don't love the upside. Then you're going to get into Hines here at 6,200, and then Wilkins at 5,400. So those are the three running backs by committee. Wilkins actually had the ball the most last game with 11 carries, caught the ball twice. But again, I just don't know that there's enough concrete evidence on who is going to carry the ball the most. I would assume more of it continues to go back to Jonathan Taylor, just based on what we've seen in the past. But again, that price tag is super high if there's a chance that it's going to be a three-headed monster. T.Y. Hilton, I think, will be an interesting spot on the slate. He's not been very good this year when he has been healthy. Most points he has in a game was 6 catches for 69 yards against Cleveland. Obviously, he's been hurt a lot this year, and he still has a groin injury that we know can just re-aggravate like that. So, do I think he's too cheap for his skill set and his upside? Absolutely. So, I think there's a situation where you land either on T.Y. Hilton or use another value play other than a kicker, and you can get up to Pascal. That I think, Pascal might be actually safer in cash, but I think Hilton has a lot more upside. Moving down, Mo Alley, Cox, and Burton. Like I said, I don't love either of them enough to pay that price when it's going to be split. Again, I'm talking Indianapolis only right here. Obviously, Blankenship is definitely in play. Kickers are always in play, are almost always in play for these types of slates. Okay, let's scroll back up. We're going to go back to the Titans. Tannehill, like I mentioned before, hasn't been throwing the ball a ton since like week 6. So, like this upside for the price is just not that great. But again, I get it in cash where you feel like you need the quarterback. Sure, that's fine. But Tannehill to me seems too expensive, but still fine in cash. Derrick Henry, again, not going to get a good matchup here. But I think in any one game slate, just his pure volume is too much to fade. So he will be one that will be on my radar, even in a poor matchup. Moving down, A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown is somebody that I really like here, especially for the discount to Tannehill. In certain builds, you'll notice that that discount becomes pretty important. He's been really consistent lately since coming back from his injury. He, played week 1 against Denver, then sat out for 3-4 weeks, has been back and has, had almost all 20-point games except for one with 12.5 against Cleveland or Cincinnati. So again, I think the upside there with AJ Brown, we're just seeing more volumes of catches, not just depending on the long bomb. So, which is really nice. Corey Davis, GPP only to me. Jonnu Smith, GPP only for me. Moving down. I did forget to mention Johnson and Pittman Jr. for Indianapolis. I think their roles become more murky now with the return of T.Y. Hilton. I think I do lean Pittman over Johnson a little bit, but I think it's both a toss-up. Gostowski is in play, obviously, and then Berksker, if I pronounce his name right, don't know, has been seen enough targets for me to consider him at 2,200. Again, this is a play you'll notice in builds that if you go down from Gostowski to him, it allows you to go up from Hilton, or it allows you to go from AJ Brown to Tannehill. So it just kind of like those little upticks, depending on what you think his performance will be, will kind of decide where you go at that point. So just to recap, my 3 favorite cash plays are going to be Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, and Phillip Rivers. My 2 favorite values are going to be the kickers plus Firksker. So you're kind of getting 3, but I'll group the kickers together. And my fade is the Indianapolis running backs because I have no clue who is going to get how many carries. And if it is going to be Jonathan Taylor, that at 8,800, I still think he needs to do a lot. And there's no way they're going to just completely phase out Wilkins and Hines. So I still think that you are battling against opportunity. And at 8,800, that is not what I want to be doing. So hopefully, again, this breakdown helped you start your builds. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, check out all of our other content at Fantasy Sports Insight, and have a good one.